Here we are, we traveled 8 hours here to see Coalition Auto Lab, and they're gonna be teaching me how to wrap my hood today. So next to us, we have Miguel, and we'll be learning a lot. So yeah, let's get ready with the interview, and yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Clay bar is the biggest one. You just get some soap and water and then just clay bar the whole car. And one thing, if you were, if you want to do this for a career, you want to keep in mind when you're doing all the prepping to see any imperfections in the wrap. So just in case they say like, oh, what is this? Then I would naturally take a picture of all of everything. So if they ask, then I can tell them like, oh, this is part of your paint. Mm-hmm.
So clay barring itself, where can you get clay bar?
So clay bar, you can get it mostly from anywhere. You can go with expensive clay bars if you want. I don't really necessarily need that. I just get clay bars from like Amazon. I test different ones out to see which one works the best. The ones that I use, I can't remember the brand specifically right now, but I like using these because they work pretty good for the price. And I'm just using regular soap and water as lubrication. Because if you don't use that, then it's just gonna make it a little bit more difficult for you to be able to glide the clay bar on your paint.
Gotcha.
You wanna give me a hand whoop? Bring this up. Make sure it gets full coverage. How much are you over? Like 2 or 3 inches? Bring it over more.
I think that's good.
Get my slicer. There it is. Yep. So with Esmo, as I mentioned before, Esmo is a very decent brand, but the issue with Esmo is that even if it has a low tack, it'll still want to stick very quickly. So what I have here is Triple S. Triple S is kind of like a tack reducer, so it helps it not stick as easy. So I'm gonna put this over the panel before I start wrapping it, just to make sure that when I lay the panel, it's not sticking right away. It still kind of floats onto the paint.
Gotcha.
So it makes it a little bit more easier when it comes down to squeegeeing. So I'm just gonna put just a mist. And you can buy this on Amazon too, by the way. Yeah.
Looks like I'm gonna be buying a lot of things on Amazon.
Yeah,
today.
right? So, and then when you apply it, you're just gonna apply it very loosely. You're not gonna like buff it off or anything. You just want it to kind of just be a part of the surface.
Okay.
And you don't want to get this stuff on under the edges, like the edges where it's sticking to.
Okay.
The reason being, since it's a tack reducer, it's not gonna stick to the edges very well. So you wanna make sure that you just kind of put in areas where it's like a big surface area, like areas like right here. And if you get some of it on like the edges, then you can use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and then just wipe it with a rag, and that'll be fine.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe this down too, because I'm gonna have to stretch in this area.
Okay, gotcha. I was also told that, with alcohol, would I want to wipe the paint with like the alcohol too then, or no?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be like more towards like the final prep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be clay bar, clay soap and water, clay bar. Clean out your edges with alcohol, and then alcohol on top of the panel. Make sure it's 100% clean. There's other extra steps that you can take care of to make sure that you don't have any dirt specks. I use this little blow driver.
Oh, cool.
I feel like I'm doing a promotion on Amazon because I keep saying you can get this on Amazon. It really feels like that. But yeah, so like before my installation, blow this to make sure there's no dirt around the area. So I just go over this. Areas like right here. So when you take off the liner on the vinyl, it will sometimes create static electricity because when you're peeling it back, it'll basically act like a suction for any dirt that's around the area.
Gotcha.
So when you take it off, any dirt that's in the area is going to get sucked under the vinyl wrap. So you want to make sure the car is clean and clean all the way around to where you're wrapping. So that's essential that your prep is always on point. So you got to make sure that everything is clean.
Gotcha.
And so I have my pouch here from Avery Dennison. This is actually the very first pouch that I got since I started wrapping. So this has seen some damage over the years, but I'll never probably get rid of it just because it held a lot of meaning to me, a lot of value. So we're gonna go a rundown of what I have here on my toolkit. So I have my squeegees here. So I have different ones for like different types of like material that I use. Some are harder than others. This one's like kind of a medium-sized one. This one's a lot softer, so it can go around bends more. And then this is a little bit more stiffer. And then I also have my off-wrap one for like bigger surface areas like hoods and stuff. So these are really nice to have. These are the tucking tools that I mentioned before. Amazon endorsement, got them off of Amazon. These are the Wrap Institute axle wrapping tucking tools. Pretty sure what that's called. And then I have my knives here. I have different types of knives. Ones are the Olfa. This one has like carbon blades. So these are a lot more. I only use these for PPF for the most part because they're extra sharp, but you don't need them for wrap. Then I have my stainless steel ones, the Alpha one. These are good for like vinyl wrapping stuff. You can also get these on Amazon too. Okay. And then I have my yellow one, just when I'm making like bulk cuts, like where you see how like this one has like a little like taper off.
Okay, yeah.
So you can put this right in the middle of the gaps between like the panels, and it will make like a 50-50 cut for you.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to worry about making a straight cut. This will do it for you.
Awesome.
And then I also have other tucking tools like this is more for like corners and stuff. This one's for like getting behind the door panels. You see how like it has a curve to it. So when you're doing the door, you can stick this under behind the door, and then you can start tucking the vinyl behind the door. And then I also have these tucking tools. This is a more finer tucking tool. So when you're tucking in between gaps on the bumpers, it helps you feed more material into the bumpers too as well. And then I have these other ones too. I don't really use these as much. These are more for memorabilia. These are my very first tucking tools I've ever got from wrapping. So as you can see, they've been beat, but this is more of a memorabilia for me, and I keep them with me all the time just so it reminds me where I started.
That's awesome.
And then I also have some other tucking tools right here. I don't really normally use these all that much just because I have these. These kind of changed the game for me, but I used to use these too. This is more for like the gapping and panels and stuff. So
Gotcha.
And that's pretty much it. I also have like a flashlight so I can see where I need to see. And then I also have like this tool right here. So like if I need to take the vinyl off at a very tricky situation, I can just peel this up. And it's plastic, so I don't really rip through the vinyl or anything.
I see. Okay, cool.
And that's pretty much it.
Looks like
some extra blades too as well.
Oh, nice.
Just in case.
Looks like you got a lot on you. Just
yeah.
The
Yeah, and then I carry this one when I'm installing too as well, so I can have everything within my reach. I know some people don't like doing that just because they feel like they're going to scratch the car, but it's easy just putting it to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Putting it to the side, so it's not really much of a big difference.
Cool.
So you're gonna need, when you're cutting off the panel on anything, you want to give yourself at least 2 inches on both sides. The reason being is that you want some extra material just in case you need to stretch. You don't want to give yourself too much material either, because then it's just too much material to fight with. So 2 inches on both sides would be the ideal.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna lay the panel here. I'm just gonna push that off to the side over here, make sure I got full coverage. Bring this out. And then I have these magnets that I can stick to so it can hold. Now, like I said, I gotta make sure I have full coverage.
And when you're on your own, you should probably have magnets to hold.
Yes, realistically, magnets, if you're by yourself, would be a game changer. Just so you're not having someone here to hold the panel for you or anything.
Gotcha.
So right now I'm just checking, make sure I got full coverage on both sides, giving myself extra material. I'm just looking here, see I got full. Full coverage, full coverage. It's always a good idea to double check everything just to make sure you got full coverage all the way around. The problem is if you start wrapping right away, you don't check, and you come up short one way and you already lay the whole panel,
Yeah.
you have no other choice but to start again. So it's good to always double check. So now this has a protective cap on it. So it has like another layer, as you can see right there. It has like, it's starting to peel a little bit already.
Yeah.
So when you take off that cap, it creates static electricity. So I wanted to reduce the static electricity as much as possible so I can control the amount of dust that's gonna be going into the wrap. So I'm gonna use this same slip solution and I'm just gonna wet the cap. And what this does, it will help eliminate some of the static electricity that's gonna be created from removing the cap. So I'm gonna take this out and then remove the cap. Now you can keep the cap on there and wrap it yourself, but the cap doesn't stretch.
Oh, okay.
So I like to remove it because I'm gonna have to stretch anyway. So I'm gonna remove the cap. And now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna wet the top of this so we can reduce the static electricity and get better control of the contamination. So I'm gonna start from one side, right? I usually like to start from the drivers. You can start from the passengers if you like, but it's really personal preference. You're gonna start from one side, you're gonna peel the liner, right? And then you're gonna go on an angle, like at 45, like this. Start from here, as far as you can possibly go. Then you gotta make sure you have full coverage. You're gonna stick it on here. And then you're gonna put your magnet here too as well, so it doesn't move. Where you put your magnet is important too as well. You wanna put it on the area you want wrapping, because the magnet will sometimes even like do a small imprint on there, and you don't want that on your actual wrap. You want it to be in an area where you know you're gonna be trimmed off. So now that you're here, I wanna remove the liner, so I'm gonna start going at an angle like this and then work my way out.
Okay.
So I'm gonna grab the liner from behind. See, I'm going at an angle, bringing that liner. And now I got that liner kind of pretty much at like a 45. So I'm gonna start bringing the liner towards this way. Keeping this straight. So now I'm at the end. Now I can grab this here and pull it back. Now you can remove the rest of the liner. Now you move the magnet out of the way. And then you can go ahead, pull the liner all the way through. I always like to roll up the liner so I can make it easier for me to throw it away. When it comes down to wrapping a hood, you're gonna have to divide it in sections. So what that means is I wanna start working at one area at a time from each corner, what's called triangles. Triangles is basically dispersing some of the fingers that I have here. So right now it looks a little scary. You know, there's a whole bunch of fingers everywhere. So you wanna disperse some of the fingers out of the way. So I have my magnet there, so I know it's not gonna slip up. So I'm gonna start working on this area, one corner. So I'm gonna pop this up. So the way to pop it up is just kind of pull it up, pull it from that liner. You see how really tacky it is, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't put the triple S, it would be more tacky than this.
Okay.
So you gotta pull it up, right? And then you see how my hands one side here and one here. So it's kind of pulling the fingers, spreading them out, right? So as I'm spreading it out, pulling this way and this way, I'm pulling towards me as well. So I'm dispersing some of the fingers out of the way. See, now that's starting to look a little bit better. Now I'm gonna work my way this way. And if it sticks onto itself, that's okay. You can always pull it out. Same thing, grab it, pull it. I'm gonna pull it up to here, and then grab it, and then bring it down. right? So now I know this is good right here, but I need to work everything else out of here.
Okay.
So this is where patience comes into play a lot. You need to have extraordinary patience for this. Because I'm gonna have to keep going back and forth, getting rid of all these fingers. Same thing. Spread it out. So now that's starting to look a little better. But I still got everything going on here. So I can pull this up. So I'm looking right here. I need to change up my game plan because this is sticking too much here. So what I need to do is pull it up all the way here, tack the middle, and then work my way down. So now I gotta pull it up even more. Like that. So now I'm gonna pull it, spreading the fingers across. There you go. Now that looks better. Now normally, I wouldn't squeegee just yet, but I wanna get this tacked down first. So I'm gonna get my squeegee, I'm gonna get some Triple S so I can lube up the material a little bit.
You know, I think the biggest thing that people realize is that wrapping isn't as easy as it looks sometimes.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I'm just gonna tack this down first. And like I said, it has that nice air egress. So even if you get a bubble, you can just smooth out with your finger. And the key is when you're also squeegeeing, you wanna go at an angle too as well. What I mean an angle is like this. You don't wanna go straight across because that's how you get a crease too as well. But since I got the Triple S, I can push this to the side like this. And then pop this up. Sometimes you gotta fight with the material a little bit because it's so tacky. And then you can start working this out. You see how I'm going at an angle? Bit by bit at it. And like I said, this is where patience comes into play. Just gotta be patient. That's good. Now I gotta tack the middle here. So I'm looking at this. Naturally, you would think that you would want to pull it up, but looking at this, I can just pull it this way instead of pulling it up. So I'm, like I said, I'm just kind of like chopping at it, what's called a seesaw motion, and then pushing it that way. Same thing here. So I want to get my middle down. The middle down is where I want to make sure it's 100% laid, because then I can work my way out. So here, if you try to do the same thing here, it's not gonna let you. So you kind of have to just be careful. You see how I'm just touching it just a little bit and then bringing it across. But here, I'm gonna need to pop it up. So I'm gonna go from behind. And this stuff is like super tacky. Like if I didn't have the Triple S, I would be fighting with this even more than what I am now. So I'm getting my hand under there, pulling it up bit by bit. Okay, so I'm still gonna put my hand under there just to make sure it doesn't move on me, and then I can work everything out. And then I'm holding tension, and you see how like I'm spreading my fingers so I can spread the vinyl just a little bit. And then just working down bit by bit. No, you don't want to get too far either, all the way straight down, because you know, what if you got to lift it up here, and so you're gonna have to start from square one again. So now I'm in a good position. Now I can properly finish the rest. So same thing here. Start going side to side, getting everything out.
Would you say that working with SMO is more of a challenging wrap for a beginner?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Anything, so there's two types of films. There's what's called a cast and then the calendared. A cast film is like what I like to call it is an outdoor film. So it's meant to be outdoors. You can put it outside in the sun. If you don't have a garage, that's okay. That's what it's meant for. It has better UV resistant than calendar film. Calendar film is what I call as the indoor film. It only lasts about maybe 2 to 3 years, 3 years if you're lucky. It really depends if your car is garage kept or not. That's how long. This is a calendar film.
Okay.
And calendar films are a lot more thicker than cast. Cast is way more thinner. So that's why a lot of other companies prefer working with cast, just because it's a lot easier when it comes down to the installation. So as I mentioned before about doing corners. So you see how like, you see this right here? Like it's not letting me go down just because
Yeah.
this. So I'm just gonna make a little small relief cut. So now it's a little bit easier to work with. So I'm gonna just use a little bit of heat so I can get the corner. So I'm gonna use a little bit of heat. I'm gonna heat this area up. Just until like it starts to turn soft. You don't need to go crazy with the heat. I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit. And I'm gonna grab my fingers like this, kind of like in a triangle. I'm gonna see where my corner's at. I'm gonna pull slightly, that much. You don't need to go crazy. And then bring the corner inside. Right? And then you squeegee all the rest. Make sure that's stacked down. And the tape is here so it doesn't stick onto the actual panel. So when you're, like I mentioned before, is that, you know, when you're wrapping and you start to conform it and stretch it, it wants to go back to the way it was. Mm-hmm. So I stretch it up to here. So when I heat it up, it's gonna hug that corner because it wants to go back to the way it was.
Oh, okay.
So once I heat it up, you see what happens.
Oh, okay, I see.
You see that?
Yeah.
It just hugs that corner now. So now you got a perfect corner.
Wow.
Because now it's just hugging it because it wants to go back to the way it was. And now that's all set. Okay? So there's two different ways that you can do this edge right here. You can either press it down with a squeegee, like this, bring it down, or you can lift it up and just feed it in. Either or is fine. This is not like an extreme compound curve that I would say that it would start to peel up. But if I can avoid putting any sort of tension onto the panel, I would. So I'm just gonna feed it in there. And what I mean feeding it in there is that I'm feeding the material without any sort of tension.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure you're not gonna go the same speed as I am.
Yeah, no, you're.
So yeah, you're gonna spend a little bit more time doing this. But if you can see right here, I'm just going at an angle. Angles are important for squeegeeing. And the pressure too. You're gonna have to have like medium pressure. So I'm gonna actually do this side, and then you're gonna do the other side.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, gee.
the best experience is hands-on.
Right.
Always hands-on. So make sure you're paying attention.
I like that. I like that. He's not wrong.
So just bit by bit at it. Now, once you get to this point, you see how like the fingers are starting to come up?
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that just for right now because I wanna do this side first, but then I'll show you how to properly stretch it without any sort of tension.
Okay.
So right now I'm just gonna tackle this. Let me give you a little bit more lube on this. The color's looking amazing though.
Yeah, I love the color.
So I will start off right here. You see how like there's still air. This is not sticking onto the actual panel, so you want to force the air down this way, right? So you're going to start right here, and then you're going to start squeegeeing this way.
Okay. And then I just keep going to.
Yeah, so right here you can actually.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right here you can just bring it down, and you see how like it's getting this high point.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to hit it first like this.
Okay.
You kind of have to switch up your angle. That's kind of hard. It's more of a game of feel than anything else.
Okay.
And then yeah, switch it up. Yep, that's perfect. And like I say, if you get a crease, you can easily just, you know, pick it back up, heat it, and it'll be fine.
That's cool. That's how you do with the finger thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
So we're gonna probably stop right there. And then now I want you to grab the vinyl, pick it up, and then start feeding the material. And first, let's get this corner first.
Oh yeah, we got to make that relief
Yeah.
cut like you said earlier.
Yeah.
He's listening.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. So we'll just make a little relief cut right here.
Gotcha.
I want you to pull that up. Pull it up this way. So you wanna line up your fingers where the corner's at, right? Like this. So I'm gonna hold it right with my hand.
Okay.
I'm gonna heat it up until it gets soft. You see how it starts to change?
Yeah.
That's when you know it's good. And then you're gonna grab it, go where your corner's at. You see my fingers? Kind of right at the edge of the corner. You're gonna just pull it slightly, like that.
Okay, I see.
And then you're gonna pull it right into that corner, like that. Okay? Put it up one more time. Yep. There you go.
A little bit better, but
Yeah, that's better. No, that's better. So, and then when you get to this point, you can just peel it up a little bit, and then just grab your squeegee, and then just kind of push it. Just push it in a little bit more.
Okay.
Right? And then you just squeegee this. Pull that back. And there you go.
Gotcha.
And then we can start pulling that one. The key is not to be nervous. Just remember,
Yeah.
enjoy, be
Yeah,
confident.
definitely.
This is where I explain to people that you need to have a good mindset when doing this, because you need to have focus.
Right.
That's the beauty about the materials, is you can always start again.
That is true.
So you need to order a whole new roll in order.
The good thing about wrap is it's more budget friendly rather than
Yes.
paint, you could say. Speaking of which, wrap or paint?
I was waiting for this question. I was waiting for this question. Well, that is like I mentioned before, that is a tough question. It all depends on personal preference. Now, there's pros and cons to paint. As we mentioned before, paint is more expensive. It also takes a lot longer to do as well. Like if you were to get it painted, you're probably looking at maybe 2 or 3 months before you get your car back.
True.
And it's sometimes even 2 to 3 times as much. With wrapping, it only takes, well, for us, it's about a week or so.
Right.
So you get your car within a week. And then on top of that too, is if you get into a small accident or something, with paint, you're gonna have to get it repainted again, and it's gonna take another month for them to fix it. With wrap, it would be the same day.
Right.
Yeah, so it's you know, with wrap, you'll never get exactly like paint. You can get close to it, but it'll never be paint.
Right.
That's because they're two different things. They'll never be on par with each other. But
Okay.
in my opinion, I think wrap would be a lot more beneficial because of the flexibility. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a lot more easier. It's a lot more economical. Yes, it doesn't last as long unless you get to like the PPF world, like the colored PPF.
Yeah.
That lasts anywhere from 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
But when it comes down to vinyl wrap, you know, you can change the color whenever you want. But when it comes down to paint, that's the color you're gonna stick
Yeah,
with
you're
forever.
stuck with
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So if you're someone who loves a particular color and never wants to get rid of it ever in your entire life, then yeah, paint. Go ahead and paint it. But if you want to change up your color and not worry about anything, having to maintain it, like paint does, where you have to get it paint corrected all the time. With vinyl wrap, it's actually self-healing too. So like if you get like small scratches from like a microfiber towel, put it on the sun and it will actually heal itself.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really nice. The technology is really nice. So as I mentioned before, it's all down to personal preference. You can use your palm and then that would bring it down. You just got to keep working at it. Yeah, just bit by bit at it. Yep. So let me give you a little bit. I'm going to just spray the whole thing because it's getting a little dry.
Okay.
You should tell them about the glove. I like these gloves.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that in here in a bit. Yeah.
But yeah.
Right now it's just squeegeeing. Yeah, so right here is a good position where you want to stop just because looking at this, you might get a crease. So right here, this is where you'll go underneath the wrap
Okay.
and then pop it up, right? So we pop it up as much as you can, and then I'm gonna pull it while you squeegee. There you go. Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. So now we can actually start tackling this, right? First, I'm gonna clean this. Clean this away because you don't want to burn this into the actual vinyl wrap. So with calendar film, it kind of shrinks a little bit different than cast because calendar, it's kind of like pre-stretched. Okay. So when you heat it up, it will start to like dissipate a lot of those fingers. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna pull this up. So I'm gonna pull it up to the point where the fingers kind of go away, right? So now I'm gonna grab my heat gun. I'm putting my hand under there so it doesn't stick to the actual hood. I'm gonna wait till this heats up fully. And you wanna kind of go in a sweeping motion with the heat. And you're gonna hit it with some heat, go slowly. And like I said, sweeping motion. And it'll start to shrink itself. And that's when you start to release your hand bit by bit. And then those fingers will slowly start to go away.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna let it cool just a little bit before I actually place it. But I'm not gonna place it because I know the moment I do, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of bubbles like this. So I'm just gonna let it cool a little bit. And I'll grab that squeegee.
Yep.
And then I'll just start squeegeeing from here while bringing my hand. I'm not pulling or anything, I'm just keeping it taut. And then just start working this way. And I know I'm getting to closer to my end. You see that little crease right there? I'm gonna pull it back up. And then I'm gonna heat it again so I can get rid of that crease. This is where I mean about like, there's people who kind of would let it go. Some people would let that go. I can't let it go, it just bothers me too much. Yeah, you're gonna see it. So I want it to be as much as paint-like as possible, to the point where my goal is to make it look like you don't even know if it's wrap or not. So you see how I have my fingers, I'm spraying it out?
Yes.
So that will help spread out those fingers. And there's my end. It's already my end. This will start to fall into place. And then here, start working that out. See this right here? Mm-hmm. You can just put it out with your finger. There it is. Now do the same thing, what I taught you on.
Same thing again, what you did.
This is magnetic too, by the way, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What you did, let's put your hand under.
Yep.
Spread it.
Mm-hmm. Pull it up to the point where, I can hold this for you.
Oh, yeah, please.
To the point where there's no fingers. And I'll heat it up for you too as well. This is where second hand comes, but I've been doing this by myself for a long time. Okay, so now keep it taut while I give it a nice heat. And you're not pulling, you're just letting it, you're just letting it relax. Giving it some heat all the way across in a sweeping motion. You see how those fingers are starting to go away?
Yeah.
That's when you know it's already been heated. And I already know that's already my end. So now you can just keep in a taut and then squeegee all the rest. There you go, and that's your end.
Oh, cool.
Just right there, just a little bit more right there. And then when you're squeegeeing, don't go like this, kind of go like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it right here.
Yeah, there you go. So now that we're here, I'm gonna show you what overstretch is.
Okay.
Okay. So this is an area that's gonna get cut anyway. So you'll know when it's overstretched by 2 ways. The color will start to get discolored. The gloss will start to turn into matte, or it just burns a hole through. So if I put it too much,
Oh.
you see that?
Yeah.
That's too much.
And you'll see the smoke.
Yeah, and you'll
Yeah.
see the smoke, and now it's like discolored. You see how it's discolored like that?
Yep.
So if you heat it up and you just want to stretch it, and if you stretch it too much, you see how discolored it gets already?
Yeah, yep.
Right? So that's already too much. Or let's just say you stretch it too much, right? And you make a slight cut. Don't worry, I'm not cutting into your paint.
Very good.
I'm literally just scoring it. See how it didn't cut through? Right? But if I pull it, now it cuts it. But if you overstretch it too much and you apply heat on it, look what happens.
Oh, it starts peeling back.
Yeah, it starts peeling back. That's when you know it's too overstretched. And this is where it's called bottle capping, where there's too many fingers on here.
Okay,
Right.
just like a bottle cap.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly, like a
gotcha,
bottle cap.
gotcha.
Yep. That's when you know you're overstretching it. So right here, same thing. You can just peel this up, give it a nice little heat. You don't necessarily have to. You can do it even without some heat, like this. You know, but it's honestly better if you just heat it up, because you'll get it nice and evened out for you. You know, like this. Give it some heat. And you see how I'm moving the heat gun? You gotta keep it moving. Don't let it sit in one place for too long, because then it's gonna burn. Yeah. My wife knows that, and I know that very well too. we both run into the same encounter. So I'm just adding some heat. Let the material do its thing.
Because once you burn it, there's no going back.
Yeah, there's no going back. That's
Yeah.
it. So once that, I'm gonna let it cool down just a little bit, because if you squeegee right off weight, it will actually make an indent of the squeegee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So just let it cool down just a little bit, and then you can start working this down. There you go. Now you can go ahead and do that to the other side. Pop this up. So what I do is I kind of spread my fingers and I kind of pop it up.
Just kind of just.
Yeah, pop it up. It's not gonna like break or anything, unless it's you're wrapping in the cold. That's a different story.
Gotcha.
But you're kind of just popping it. Yeah, there you go. And then when you're going to heat gun, you kind of just want to go in one fluid motion like this.
One fluid motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't be scared that you're gonna burn it. It takes, as you can see, it took a lot for me to burn it. I had to really get close to it at a really high temperature. So don't be afraid to get a little closer.
Like I said, that's what I don't want to do is just
Yeah,
burn
no,
into
no,
this.
you're fine. Yeah. Yeah, you can get up to right there. Yeah, like that. You see how? And when you go in one fluid motion like that, you know, you're less likely to burn it.
Gotcha.
Let's go a little bit more.
A little bit more?
All the way through here.
Okay.
Yep, just like that. That's perfect. Yep, let's make it some heat right here. Yep, there you go. Beautiful. All right, you're all set to go on there. Now let's start from right here and then work your way up.
Oh.
That's okay. You can always pop it back up.
And then
Put a little heat. Yep. Just a case. Yep. You see how it returns back to the way it was? Yep. That's the beauty of the material. You can place it back. You can go straight down. Grab it straight down.
And then this is already...
Yeah, that's already the edge of the,
Okay,
the
gotcha.
hood. Yep.
I don't need to move up with it, right? It's just kind of...
Yeah, so you kind of want to start from right here just to make sure this edge is laying flat.
Okay.
You know, just to make sure you don't get any air bubbles there too as well. And you know, popping these up, getting rid of those creases and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then heat that up again.
No, you don't need to heat it up.
No?
You can,
Okay.
you can keep going. Yeah. And then when you squeegee, you kind of want to squeegee from the top down like that, and then go like that.
Gotcha.
So it makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to control those wrinkles.
I've also heard of a thing called reading the wrinkles as well. What is...
Reading the wrinkles is basically kind of like stretching the material where it wants to go. And that's something that you're not really gonna fully understand unless you already get your hands on wrapping. There you go, there's your edge.
Cool.
So you see this little mark right here?
Yeah.
And then there's one of the things that people would let that go. I would not let that go. That would, especially since being so close to the edge, I would just heat this up. And then it would heal itself. And then I'll let it relax just a little bit. And then now it's gone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's gone. Same thing here.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing with
here.
that.
Just heat it up. Let it relax a little bit. The key is just to let it like cool down just a little bit. Because I'll show you what happens if you heat it up and then you squeegee right away. Yeah, you won't feel it yourself.
Okay.
So when you heat it up and you squeegee right away, like you see that mark, that's your squeegee. You see that texture right there?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it gets that texture. Now, this is where I talk about like my quality. Something like this, people would not notice. You know, if I didn't point this out to you, you probably would have never noticed. But for me, I don't like it.
Right.
You know, I want it to be as close to paint, and that to me is not as glossy as this, right? This is super glossy. This is kind of glossy, but not the same thing. So that's the challenge that I face as a professional rapper, is that I don't know, or I don't know when to stop or when what's good and what's not. You know, sometimes I have too much high expectations for myself, and sometimes the material won't let me do things that I would want it to do, because the rap has limitations too as well.
Yes.
So that's one of those things too as well.
Gotcha.
All right, so now we'll get to the real fun part.
Cutting?
Trimming. Yeah, trimming. With trimming, you always kind of want to have a fresh blade, right? I always like to snap a little bit. So when you get a blade like this, it usually comes with a little gap right here. Mm-hmm. And you see these little lines? Mm-hmm. So these can be chipped away or knocked off, and you'll get like a fresh blade. So if I use this for a while and I'm gonna start cutting, I wanna snap one away. So I put it in between.
Gotcha.
And then snap it, and then I have a new blade. Don't put these on the floors, because then if you sit down, then this could go up your butt. So you don't want that. You don't want that. I've actually seen a video, someone actually went to the doctor, and there was actually literally up their butt. Like they took a, what is it, like a...
X-ray?
An X-ray? Yeah, and you see the little blade in there. And I was like, damn.
Fun.
Yeah. So for the hood, it's pretty simple. There's nothing really crazy about it. You can always just follow along with the actual gap in between here. Mm-hmm. So in this corner, if you come up close right here, you see where my edge of my corner is here? Mm-hmm. You want to, with the tip of your blade, you want to poke at that gap, right? And then you're going to go straight across like this. And then you're going to go straight across here. And then you're going to want to peel this away while you're cutting it. Okay? And the reason being is that you don't want any extra material at the edge of here, because if it does and it's hanging loose and water gets under it, then it'll start to peel even more.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
here, now I'm going to start heating all these away, because I don't want that to be, I don't want these fingers in between the gap. So I'm just going to use some slight heat, smooth that out. And I'm just using my finger. See how I heat it up and now it becomes smooth? Yeah. I don't want any of these fingers in the between the gaps. Like that. gonna stop there for right now. Let it cool down just for a little bit. So I'm gonna grab my blade. I'm only gonna stick it out just a little bit.
Okay.
Right? And then I'm gonna run my blade right at the edge of that fender on the hood. So I get a nice, good material going all the way through. So I'm just gonna cut this away just to make sure. And then follow all the way through. Here, this is where you need to take your time. And make sure your hands are super steady too as well. And you gotta be careful too as well when you're cutting. You don't wanna go fast and next you know your blade slips and then you cut the cut. Yeah, so you don't want that. So it's important that you take your time.
It's just cutting onto the opposite panel, yes.
Yes, the opposite panel, yep. And the reason I only stick my blade out a little bit is just in case that, you know, there's moldings behind there. I'm not actually cutting through like the moldings and stuff. Then I'm just gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
Now you can peel this away to that point. I'll rip this away. On the top of the hood, you want to give yourself some extra so you can tuck underneath, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna run my finger through here just to make sure I know exactly where the place of the hood. I'm gonna stick out my blade like two notches up, and then I'm gonna cut about 1/4 of an inch of extra material. You see how I'm holding my blade kind of like this, kind of like almost like a chopstick? Because if you hold it like this, you know, your blade would kind of play around a little bit. But with this, you know, your blade is following along with your hand, not your finger.
Almost like a pinching motion with your fingers right there.
Yeah. So this glove is a game changer. I'm sorry, Off-Wrap, but this is a better vinyl glove. So this helps you like kind of glide over the vinyl wrap a little bit nicer. So if you try to use your hand, like try using your hand and going over these squeegees, I want you to feel that first. You know, try to get it.
Yeah.
Now I want you to put this glove, and I want you to test it out.
Oh, it's like a lot
smoother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it glides more than
Yeah.
just, yeah. That's cool.
So like if you get like a curve right here and then the squeegee, right? The squeegee can't really conform to that, then that's when you use your glove to be able to conform into the tough areas like that too as well.
Probably when he does the doors, you probably use the glove.
Use this a lot more. What,
Yeah.
like, for like the door handle kind of thing?
Yeah,
Or-
it's the door handle. Yep,
inside,
yep.
like,
Just
you know the door, like the inside, just squeeze it in.
Okay.
yeah.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah, so I usually have it on basically all the time when I'm wrapping too.
Okay.
I use that 100% of the time, to be honest with you.
Oxy tools?
Yeah, that's like the best glove in the wrap game. So I'm sorry, Off-Wrap, but it's the proof is in the pudding. Heat this out, get rid of all those, just to make it smooth. And that's where the glove comes in play, so you can make sure it's all smooth. And it's so satisfying to see like those fingers go away. Run your finger all the way through the gap, yep, just to smooth it out.
I'm about to heat that up again, right?
Yeah, just heat it up just a little bit. A little bit more heat. Yeah, just heat until those fingers kind of go away. But if it doesn't, that's okay. Just as long as the edge is good. Yeah, the edge is good, so it'll be more than enough. Good.
You have to apply a pretty good pressure on that?
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
apply pretty good pressure, yes. So first part, you want to take the point of your knife. You see like the bottom of the corner. You want to push it, put like the tip of your blade. You want to hit that little corner right there, and then cut this way, and then cut that way.
Okay.
This is hard, so don't feel like you need to get it perfect. This is tough. Yeah. So I usually just kind of lift it up and then just cut that
up there.
away.
Okay.
Yeah. And then here you see the tape. The tape is kind of in the way, so that's fine. I'm just gonna cut that off for you. And then here you're just, like I said, you're just running your blade at the very edge.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, she likes doing that too.
The way you hold the knife definitely plays a big part too.
Yeah.
I can just hold it against the panel, right? Or
Yeah, like the blade, the side of the blade is touching the fender.
yeah.
And then you just need to cut that, and then the rest is just tucking, and then that's it.
Cool.
This is the hard part.
Yeah.
This is the hard part.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
over here sweating too.
Oh, it looks great though. It's fantastic. Can't wait to see it finished. I posted a story of you cutting, and I put the song "Trying to Hold On."
You'll know too that once the blade stops cutting as well, you need a new blade.
Yeah, if it doesn't cut as clean, then that's when you need to snap off a new blade.
I'll just give you that.
It gets worn down that quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I usually cut a fresh blade every new panel. Sometimes even twice, depending.
You just feel it. You just feel the difference.
There you go. So now
It'd
we
be-
just gotta tuck everything, roll the material in there. So
Okay.
if you want to pop your hood.
Yeah.
So I usually like to start from the corner. I got my heat gun on. So I'm just gonna heat this up. Watch what happens when I heat this up though. See that?
I ain't quite seen it.
It's all right. I'll do it on the other
Okay,
side.
yeah,
Yeah. So it kind of gets sunk in. Right. So I'm just gonna heat this up,
Oh, I see. I see.
and you see how it kind of rolls itself onto itself. And then you just gotta when you're doing this, you kind of want to start at the top, and then do the middle, and then that's when you roll everything in underneath. So I'll do that again. Right, heat, top,
And then you-
middle, and then bottom.
Okay.
3 steps.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
3
Top,
steps.
middle,
Yeah.
bottom.
Heat it up again. Top, middle, and bottom. Don't skip those steps, because
Sounds-
if you skip to 2 in the middle, then you'll get air right here.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, and if you go to start doing it from the bottom like this, like starting the bottom, then you'll get air. So this reduces the amount of air that gets in here. So watch what happens when I put some heat on there. So if you look here,
Yep.
look what happens.
Oh, I see.
Look at that.
Comes
It
in.
just shrinks.
That's cool.
It shrinks itself onto the actual corner, and now you have a perfect corner. Right. So go ahead and start rolling all of them.
Start from the top.
Yep.
Go over here.
In the
In
middle.
the middle.
Mm-hmm. Good. And then the bottom. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
This up. So right here it gets a little tricky because you got, a different shape. Yep. So I always like to start same thing. Rolling it off first. And then do it in the middle. But I'll start at the edge. You see how these fingers are starting to show up? Right? I'll add a little bit more heat on there so it can become soft. And then I'll put a large amount of pressure and then bring it down towards the middle. And then I'll bring it out. And then bring it out this way. There you go. Because if you start right here, then you'll get too much material bunched up, and then you'll get like creases.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get creases. All right, go ahead. And then we can just finish up the middle.
I feel like this is when being taller comes into play.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
can kinda
definitely. Yeah.
See.
Especially when I get those big SUVs.
Oh,
yeah,
I believe it.
that's where it does. Yeah, definitely.
Do you need like a step ladder sometimes?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Yeah, definitely.
Middle here. And then the bottom.
Yeah, this step is called rolling your edges.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what exactly is, just rolling it onto
Rolling
the
it.
backside.
Gotcha. Cool.
Perfect. Now we'll just do the backside here.
Cool. And did you get these gloves off Amazon as well?
No, those,
Oh,
that's a
okay.
Sweden company. So
Sweden? Okay, gotcha.
yeah, so those you have to order on the company website, and that you do need a business license
Really?
for. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to give you that one though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I got plenty. Since they're from Sweden, then I ordered a large amount to avoid the tariffs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Cool.
And that's
There you
it.
go. That was definitely
Yeah.
an experience there.
Just
It
gonna.
was probably longer than you thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I'm not sure how long this was, but I'm sure that
It
was
probably like an hour and a half.
an hour and a half, really?
Yeah.
Since I put the adhesive promoter on there, you don't really necessarily need to be able to do post heating, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll show you what it means. So this is a little device you can buy on Amazon. It can, it tells you the temperature, right?
Okay.
So if you click on it, you see that little red dot, that will tell you the temperature. So for Esmo, I'm not sure 100% what the post heating temperature is like, but I can't imagine it being any more than 210.
Okay.
So with these edges, you want to point it at the area you want it to be post heating, and you want to heat it up to that temperature, right? And that would destroy that memory. So right there's 210, right?
Okay.
For me, in my experience, I usually crank this bad boy up to 1100 Fahrenheit, and then I'll just go really close and go really slow, and I know that will start to pulse heat it. It will get up to 220 degrees just by me doing this. So I don't really need that necessarily, just because you see how that happens?
Yeah.
That's because that was lifting up. See how that's lifting up?
Yep.
Yep, so that's destroying that memory. Especially on these corners, you know, because I had to stretch on here.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that's very well post heated. All the way through here. Basically all your edges, you just want to post heat them. Now this is an expensive heat gun just because it tells you the temperatures. So I can turn down this temperature or raise it up to how I want it to. But the Wagner's doesn't do that. So you're gonna have to be mindful of your temperatures. Sometimes it's a game of feel too as well. If you don't have one of those, I usually like to heat it up. And if you can't place your hand there because it's too hot, then it's post heated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another good rule of thumb. It's not 100% accurate. I wouldn't recommend it. This is more sense of like experience than anything else. But if you're in a pinch and you have nothing to really see the temperatures, you can use that.
You ever burn yourself with a heat gun?
Oh yeah, tons of times, tons of times. Yeah. It's one of those things, like if you rush it, that's where your accidents start to happen. So it's vital that you take your time.
So what do you think?
I think for the overall thing, it's definitely a challenge, but I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information to definitely take in. But I
Yes,
think,
it is a lot of information.
like I said, the biggest thing is just looking over everything, taking things step by step, and then make sure I got that down. Because I feel like a lot of the stuff you told me is very vital to having a good final product for sure.
Everything looks like paint, bro.
It does look like paint.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah, and
I'm looking at some of I know there was like a little imperfection I had under my paint. I
Yes,
think
and
it
you
was
will see
this,
it. Yep.
And
and you-
then, yeah,
So-
like right there too.
So
but-
any imperfections you might have in the paint will translate into the actual vinyl
Right.
wrap too as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's one of those things, like I always tell my customers, is that this is better than what you had before. Yeah. So, I mean, I would rather have this, in my opinion, than it to be all paint chipped and stuff. So
yeah. This is just masking tape you got from like anywhere, right?
Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Amazon.
literally buy all my stuff from Amazon just because, for one, I can get them a lot quicker. You know, it's 1-day shipping, Amazon Prime, and for the price, it's a lot cheaper than if you were to get some name brand stuff. And they work just as good too, to be honest. You can, like I said, you'd rather just save them money than buying some top end tools that, for some people, they're only going to use it once for their car.
Right.
Yeah. So unless you want to make it a career, then you know,
Go
then you can go
buy-
a little bit more expensive, but I wouldn't recommend going full out. It's gonna be a game of patience, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no problem.
I learned that today for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot more time, experience. You're gonna have a lot of frustration, but the key is just to enjoy the process and be able to be excited about it, even though it might be frustrating. Don't lose that sense of excitement.
Yeah, definitely.
About
The overall finish.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
that's-
the overall finish.
I just want to say again, thank you for Collision Auto Lab for having us here, helping me wrap the Q50, by the way. I know this is going to be a very challenging task. And again, I'm very thankful for them just sharing their story, especially here with Miguel, telling us how he got started, how to even wrap, things to look out for, tips and tricks. So again, I just want to thank you. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's been
Yeah.
a pleasure, Brian. Thank you for coming by. And like I said, if you need any helps or tips or anything, I'm more than happy to help you by. And I'll give you my phone number. So if you need to FaceTime me or something, just in case you get in a tight spot or something, then you can feel free to call me. But honestly, I'm more than happy to help anybody that's in need to want to do their own projects too as well.
Gotcha. Well, again, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of
Like I
course.
said,
Thank you.
I'm very happy with the result too. So.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks like paint.
And